Brace yourself. You're listening to E-Brace Radio.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 12 of E-Brace Radio, Saturday, July 25th, 2020. Guys, I have a laptop now. I have a microphone now. Production value going up. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it's nice to see you finally get on this production train.
Yeah, for a while I was just using my phone propped up with a box of my business cards and AirPods. So hopefully you guys won't hear me taking any sips of water anymore. But show value going up, and our downloads are reflecting that.
Absolutely, yeah. Broke the 1K club.
Yeah, 1,000 downloads. We had a staggering number come in from outside the country, so all of our foreign listeners, what's up? Or if you're in the military, then you're listening from outside the country, that probably makes more sense.
Assalamu alaikum.
But yeah, 1,000 downloads on the pod. Website views going up. Over 900 website views, so thank you guys so much for telling your friends. Word of mouth has been a huge way of us spreading the podcast and spreading the website on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, this episode's gonna be a little bit different. We're not gonna have any ads on the pod. So Nick and I decided, in a drunken stupor for at least me, I think Nick was sober, but that we're gonna demonetize the downloads because we don't want to cheapen the podcast at all.
Right. So we'll still have the Pizza Hut ad because that's actually like an organic ad that we got on our own merit. But we won't be having the embedded ads anymore at the beginning or the end of the show because, like Kyle said, I felt like it cheapened our product and it didn't. I don't know. It didn't come across organic, and it didn't come across like we were
sincere about it.
Right. It was just like it felt to me like we were trying to go for a quick buck, and I say literal buck because
we made 9 cents.
I made like 9 whole cents doing it.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and any natural like organic ads or in episode ads we're still gonna do. Obviously, again we're trying to, like I said, eventually sell out one day, but not for 9 cents.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more expensive than that.
Exactly. So we're gonna, keep trying to grind, get some natural ads in or in episode ads, whether it be pre-recorded stuff or stuff they want us to read out. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna keep grinding. We have some life updates. We haven't had a life update in a little bit. We've been mostly focusing on sports.
I'd like to reach back to the 1,000 though. I think 1,000 downloads on the back of 2 guys just trying to get the word out, I think goes to show how good of friends we have. And family, friends and family that spread it out and like hey, these guys are funny. And then people listen to us, and I mean, they're probably disappointed, but I hope they're not.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, if they don't like us talking about buttholes and puke and poop, then
and my mediocre dick,
then we don't want them. Just kidding. We'll take anybody that can listen. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys again so much. Let's get into it, Nick.
Yeah.
You are back to work and working out.
Yep. So during quarantine, I tried. Like I was staying pretty active. I was going on a walk 3 times a week. I was running twice a week. But this past week, I actually got into my buddy's home gym, doing some lifting,
slanging some weight,
slanging that thing. And I've realized that I fucking hate lifting.
Dude, it's such bullshit when people are like, you just feel so much better after. You might like I hate working out. That's why I got fat. But shout out keto, saving lives one day at a time. But the idea that people are like, oh, I love working out. Like, no, you don't. You like the feeling that you accomplished something, that you like went and did something. No one likes being stuck under heavy ass weight where you feel like you're going to either shit yourself or pop a blood vessel. Like it's not a good feeling. So I've had a bone to pick with them for a while. That whole community, I'm coming at them now. Enemy number 1 of the pod.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I really like it's fun to lift because I'm doing it like the camaraderie with my buddy. But there's nothing fun about the next day feeling like you've been hit by a truck.
Yeah, when you can't bend down to tie your shoes because your back hurts so bad from doing deadlifts, or your legs hurt so bad you just have to plop onto the toilet bowl to take a shit, then it doesn't feel good. No, it sucks. It's not fun. And the idea of you need to work out legs, myth. I walk on my legs every single fucking day. I work them out every day. Skechers shape-ups, they need a comeback. Get Joe Montana back here advertising. But yeah, how does it feel being back at work? You had a nice break from work.
Yeah, I think before this past Monday, I hadn't been to work since March 23rd. I was essentially unemployed. I mean, I was doing meetings here and there from home. I started a podcast.
Nothing big.
No big deal. But I didn't, and here's the thing, I didn't like ease myself into it. I didn't go in at like 9. No, I woke up Monday morning, 4:45 in the morning.
You didn't ease yourself in, but you did ease yourself in because on Tuesday you sent a text and you're like, yeah, I had to dip out of work early today, so
it was my anniversary.
Second day back and you're using that PTO already.
It was my anniversary.
No, I mean, it's just the most relatable thing of all time where you're like, fuck, I think I gotta head out. I mean, I can't do this anymore. When you've been there for a total of 10 hours that week.
I am tie-tie.
Yeah, but I am reading a book. Shout out to Big Rob, sent me some books. So I'm reading a book right now, which caught my fiance completely by surprise, but also...
I didn't know you could read.
Good one. But I have to make her put her headphones in to read. I need perfect silence in the house. Otherwise, I can't do it. She, earlier this week, she went outside. She had a phone call, and she went into the backyard, which literally is like, shut my bedroom door, walk through the living room, shut the outside door, and she was there. And I could kind of hear her conversation, and I couldn't read. I just couldn't do it. I could not focus. So I need to sit in perfect silence. But I mean, I guess that's being in a relationship. It's give and take. Trevor Lawrence's girlfriend, fiance, I should say now, she's getting all the take.
Oh, she's going to take advantage of that take.
I don't. Trevor Lawrence getting engaged is he a senior or is he a junior?
I think he's a true junior.
True junior is
21 years old.
Quite possibly one of the dumbest fucking things of all time.
I think the fact that he is going to be presumably
a potential number one pick.
Potential number one pick, presumably NFL quarterback, and he's getting wifed up at 21. Bro, you had at least 9 years to just slang that thing around.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, not only is he going to be a potential number one draft pick, not only is he going to be on the number one team in the country, potentially, not only is he potentially going to be a Heisman, not only is he 21, not only is he in college, you could be getting any girl you want. You could be throwing around so much money living the baller lifestyle. And congratulations, you just signed away half of your net worth at 21 years old to a girl that you met when you were in, 10th grade, and she was the hottest girl in your school, so you're like, no one's ever going to be hotter than her. No one's ever going to be nicer than her. But she hit the fucking jackpot. You know what this reminds me of? That picture of Russell Wilson getting drafted, and his girlfriend is screaming in the background, and the caption on the tweet was like, this chick just thought she hit the lottery. And then they were divorced 45 minutes later because Russell Wilson was 23 when he got drafted. That's anytime I see someone get drafted and their girlfriend sitting right next to him and they're they think they just made it, or boyfriend. We don't hate. But it's
shout out Michael Sam.
Yeah, shout out Michael Sam. But it just doesn't make any sense, dude. Why? Why would you do that? And I've been in a relationship since I was 19. I'm going to be marrying her, but I'm also not going to be a multimillionaire and the number one pick of the draft.
That's exactly my argument. I was he got engaged at 21, which is exactly when I got engaged. But here's the thing. as much as I'd like to be, I'm not an NFL quarterback.
No, exactly. So I think the rules
Shout out
are
Patty Mahomes' contract.
Yeah, exactly. I think the rules are slightly different when you are going to be an NFL, like a legit, like the only way he doesn't go number one is if his leg breaks in half. Like unless
even if his leg breaks in half, he would have to break in half in order for him not to get drafted.
But yeah, man. I mean, getting that news in the beginning of the week was just like that little tease, that little tiny tease to get us to sports are back. We've said it 900 times. They're back. And NBA is back. MLB is back. NHL, kind of back. They announced in New Jersey.
On the way back.
On the way back. They're on the up and up. But I'm so happy, dude. I'm so fucking happy. We got fucking Big Dick Cespedes hitting a ball to the moon yesterday. The last time he had a home run, 2 years ago, against the Braves. So, suck it, Harry. Suck it, Braves fans. The Mets are back. Baseball is back.
Yeah, the Reds might be the best team in the major leagues. I don't know if you saw that, but they absolutely pooped on the Tigers.
Yeah, they mollywopped them. They fucking shit on them. But
got a nice little moose bomb.
Yeah, you did. We're going to touch on this a little bit later. We got stood up on an interview. We tweeted about it. But it was on Thursday, which was opening day of baseball. So after we got stood up, I tucked my tail between my legs. I walked downstairs with my laptop and started watching Yankees game. And the look on my fiance's face, the disappointment was next level. She's like, what's going on? Like, you've been watching, like, Twitch simulations, but, like, this isn't a Twitch simulation. Like, what's going on here? And I was like, move over, hon. Sports are back. my number one girl is back in my life.
I thought we were going to watch Say Yes to the Dress.
Dude, no, she's been watching. No, right now what we're watching is Gossip Girl for the 900th time. So shout out Blake Lively. But yeah, dude, I mean, what were your initial thoughts of this week with the NBA bubble, with MLB, you know, obviously they lose some players to COVID testing, and then NHL jerseys. What were your initial thoughts?
All right, so I'll run this down. Dr. Fauci's first pitch.
Brutal.
Not great, Bob. Also being stood up. So we were supposed to have this person. I don't want to name names.
Pico Papo.
His name rhymes with Pico Sosco. But so he was supposed to come on last week, and he rescheduled to this week on Thursday. And we were like, "What time works for you?" And he was like, 7. And looking back on it, man, he set us up. The fact that we expected a sports gambler to come on at the same time that Major League Baseball was having the first pitch, that's on us. That is absolutely on us.
That is on us, but I also thought it would have been absolutely hysterical if he came on at 7 and then gave us an interview from 7 to 7:06 when first pitch was at 7:07. I think a 6-minute interview would have been the funniest thing of all time. But yeah, that one hurt. So good thing I never got stood up on a date because I'd still be single. I would not be able to get over it. But I had friends that wanted me to go to dinner with them. And I was like, no, I can't. I have an interview lined up with this guy, yada, yada, yada. Barstool personality, no big deal. And my fiance went to dinner. I stayed home. And I missed out on a good dinner. But me and Nick got to talk for 2 hours while we waited for him and did nothing.
I wrote 2 blogs. I released 2 more, and
we wrote 3 blogs. We wrote the Friday playlist blog too.
Yeah, and I ate dinner. Well, actually, me and Kyle ate dinner together on Zoom.
Yeah, we did actually. I had my fiance bring me some food, and me and Nick had a Zoom date. And it was the saddest fucking thing of all time. We both just had our mics muted so you couldn't hear each other chew, and we were just both looking at our Twitter DMs, waiting on a response.
Just waiting on something that was never coming.
Yeah, and it was like we got on because we DM'd him. We were like, "Hey, MLB is going to be on at 7. why don't we move it up to 6 so that way you can watch the game? Very fun.
And I think he was like, fuck, better on to me.
Yeah. So from 5:30 to 7:30, we were on here just.
Oh no, I think we got on at 4:30.
I don't know, but either way, stood up on a date. But either way, sports are back, so we have a little bit of fulfillment back in our lives.
Right. So I'll move on to the next thing. The NHL team, the Seattle Kraken, so cool. I love it. I'm so excited.
So it is cool. We were talking about this off air. The logo is literally a Microsoft clip art thing from 1999, but the colors are what save it. Their colors are cool as fuck.
Well,
so
Seattle
has the best colors. Their colors fuck. The city of Seattle's colors fuck. Maybe not like everything else that might have been going on up there. But the rain, that kind of sucks. But their colors, awesome.
Yeah. So the logo actually is a throwback to the old Seattle team that was up there. The Seattle Seals. I think that was their name.
Not a hockey historian, so your guess is as good as mine. But
so yeah, it's the block S. That's a throwback to the old Seattle team that won the Stanley Cup in like the 20s or 30s. So that's why that looks like that. But overall, their jerseys slap. The jerseys, the colors, the name. Since they announced Seattle was getting a team and I saw Seattle Kraken on the list of potential names, I was like, that's the one. That's it. You have to do that one.
I saw someone that tweet, if their arena isn't named the Crack House, then something's wrong. Which, I mean, that's an all-time name. Obviously, it's not going to be, but the
fans are going to be called the Crackheads, which I love.
True. Yeah, once I said Crack House, I probably should have thought Crackhead would be the next step. But how much do you think their first initial jersey is going to be off? Because we saw LeBron James rookie card went for $1.8 million. How much do you think that jersey is that initial jersey is going to be worth?
Someone's gonna put it in a frame, and it's gonna be like, it's gonna be worth a lot. But also they're gonna mass produce them. But like the first,
I mean, like the original jersey they announced, like the actual one, it's probably gonna be worth a fair amount of money.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be worth, I'd say north of $50,000.
Nowhere near the LeBron James. Have you ever thought about how many fucking cards you had, like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, because you're a loser, MLB cards, NFL cards? How many cards you've had, and it makes me sick thinking I probably had a card that's worth $20,000 right now that I fucking tried to Gary V my way into and traded for a popsicle and a stick of gum. You know what I mean?
I absolutely, because of course, I had Pokemon cards, I had Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's a game and it's fun. I don't want to hear your slander, but
again, fucking loser. But
but no, I loved all the trading cards, and I probably had some expensive ass cards that I probably just threw away, let it go underneath my dresser because I'm a fucking
you and your
adolescent kid.
You and your sticky socks under the dresser.
Okay, at least I didn't use a satin bag.
That's true. I mean, sucker there. But no, yeah, the amount of money that's going into cards is absolutely ridiculous. But I have to admit something. I am addicted to watching addicted gamblers gamble on Twitch. I can't stop. I can't stop watching people play slots and play blackjack. I just can't do it. And the weirdest part about this is people get so anxious. I know you watched, I'm drawing a blank on the name, the Adam Sandler movie, gambling movie. Why am I drawing a blank?
Uncut Gems.
Thank you, Uncut Gems. And you texted me and you're like, I'm having anxiety watching this right now. Gambling, for most people, they don't like it because they get very anxious. Gambling, Las Vegas casinos or any casinos are the only place where I feel calm. And it's the weirdest feeling in the world. I don't know if it's because there's 7,000 things going on around me, but I am addicted to watching gambling addicts gamble. I can't stop.
Two negatives make a positive. You're anxious all the time. That's an anxious thing. That they meld together and somehow you're calm.
Yeah. So maybe I just need to become a card shark And like I said, one of the very few places I ever said I would move would be to Las Vegas. But dude, yeah, I'm addicted. I'm not gonna lie, but I am also kind of addicted to watching people open up card packs on the internet. Have you seen that?
What kind of card packs?
They'll be like that. People will buy like whatever year, like what was like Jordan's rookie year, like just say it was like 1980.
I think it was 83.
1983, like unopened like NBA cards, and they'll buy it for like $3,000, like a pack, and just hope that they get a Michael Jordan rookie card in there. And they just open it up and they're like, we're searching for a Jordan, and they do this like weird thing where they flip the cards like it's a very odd. They like do like a full like 180 with their wrists, like present it to the camera. But yeah, dude, I'm addicted to watching addicted people gamble, but that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. But all right, I think we're good to throw it over to the interviews. What do you think? Or not the interviews, the voicemails.
We got some voicemails. Yeah, we got 2 voicemails here.
Yes, let's toss it over to the voicemails. All right, big thank you to Pizza Hut.
Kick it over to our 2 voicemails this week. Shout out to everybody that called in, left us a voicemail. Again, the number 803-526-7438. Give us something to talk about.
First up.
Hey guys, Sean from Pennsylvania. Just started watching Ozark halfway through season 1. Anytime I watch those type of shows, it gets me thinking what my life would be like, how I would handle certain situations if I was in the drug game or part of a cartel. Somebody like Marty Bird, kind of the low-key, one of the most important jobs, but also the most dangerous. You're in charge of laundering the money, getting it clean, balancing the books. And if anything's off, I mean, they're coming for your head. Or maybe somebody like Walter White, you're just in the kitchen cooking behind the scenes. As long as you don't call out sick for work, I mean, you're employed. Or maybe somebody like Pablo Escobar, you're the top dog, kingpin. When things go down, it's all on you. Stress levels through the roof. You get old, you get fat, and eventually get capped. But I guess what would your guys' preference be in occupation if you were a part of that industry? Thanks.
Shout out, Sean. Thanks for the voicemail. So just to recap a little bit here, we got some feedback that we should recap the voicemails. Long voicemail, short here. If you were in a show like Ozarks, Breaking Bad, something like that, what would your role be? Who would you want to be in the show? Nick, I'll let you start.
Oh, you let me start? So a little bit of confession here. I'll turn heel on this. I have never seen Ozark or Breaking Bad.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dead serious. I've watched maybe...
Turn the recording off for a second. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Wow, that's... There are some things that will break up a relationship, and what Nick just said is something I'm going to have to think about for the next 36 hours or so. Well, have you seen Sopranos?
No.
Have you seen Sons of Anarchy?
Can't say I have.
God, dude, you play Yu-Gi-Oh, but you don't fucking watch some of the greatest shows of all time. This is a crossroad episode for us because I'm thinking about how I go about finding a new co-host. All right, so then I guess I'll answer first.
Please.
If we're going with reality, I would be Jesse Pinkman, where I would be the number 2, and I would do one thing bad, and my whole life would get completely wrecked because I wouldn't be able to forgive myself for doing something bad. In what I would like to be, I'd probably like to be like Mike Ehrmantraut, where you just come in and clean up the mess. Like you're kind of just behind the scenes. You're getting a bag every week. You have the least amount of risk. Just kind of the smart older dude who just got to drive around your car all day and pick up a bunch of money. So that's what I would do. But in reality, the second I would sell like a dime bag of weed to like a 19-year-old, I'd be like, I messed up his future. So that's my answer. Nick, can you give a hypothetical of if you were in the cartel, where you'd like to be?
Oh, I think I'd like to be a producer. I think I'd like to.
You'd like to be the cook?
Yeah, I'd like to cook that shit up, bro.
I mean, you get to wear like the hazmat suit all day, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, I'd be able to, I'd be able to make sure that the product that I'm giving people isn't going to kill them.
Or on the other hand, you better be good at math.
That is one thing I'm not good at.
Yeah. So Nick would wipe out half of his city with a bad batch of whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think simple answer. I would probably last 0.5 seconds in any of those things, because someone would say something and be like, I think I need my 15-minute break an hour, so I'm going to go outside and take that and then just never come back. But anyway, shout out, Sean. Thanks for the voicemail. Appreciate it. Let's kick it over to our second one here.
So I'm gonna put in the recording, so it'll be the audio will be good, but I like the recap too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it sounds kind of professional. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Next up.
Hey, Kyle. Hey, Nick. Why don't you tell us about one of your oddest times with the dollar beer night? Because I know Kyle has a crazy one. All right. See you later.
So my buddy Ryan called in. Where he was didn't have the great cell phone reception. So recap here. He said, "Why don't you give us a story about dollar beer night?" Not one of my proudest nights, but I'll go ahead and tell the story. So, sophomore year of college, beginning of baseball season, and beginning of baseball season is a lot of conditioning. So, we have to run what's called poles, which is foul pole to foul pole. It's a pretty far run. You're supposed to do it in a sprint. And our coach was like, I think it was 12 of them. And it was me and Ryan running. It was the first time we'd ever met because he had just transferred in. And we're running poles, and we run like 7. And he looks at me, he's like, I think that was 12, right? And I was like, this is my motherfucking guy. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we walk off, and he's telling me about this bar that's offering dollar beers. And so I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. I just got my fake ID. Let's go. So we go to the bar. We get there, and one of our buddies got so messed up in the pregame, we just left him on the curb. And he was just on the curb in uptown Charlotte puking. Like, literally, if he leaned forward, could have got hit by a bus. But anyway, we get in there, and as the night progresses, I'm buying more and more random people beers, shots, and all this, that, and the other. And the night closes out, and my tab is $150.
On dollar beer night.
On dollar beer night. And so I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I'm like I have like the spins while I'm awake. I'm so drunk. So I call my buddy to come pick me up, and he drives me back to our friend's apartment, and we start, sleeping. And we get there, and I take my wallet out, I take my phone out, and I take my keys out of my pocket. And I realized I was supposed to sleep in Uptown that night because I had drove myself to the bar. I paid for parking. I had to have my car out of there by 9:30 a.m. Set my alarm that night, set it for 9:30 p.m. Classic. Who of us haven't been there? I woke up at noon and was like, holy fuck. Called one of my friends, had him drive to Charlotte. We get there, the guy's like about to put a boot on my car. He's like, this your car? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, get in. And so like I get in the car, I turn it on, and immediately have to call my friend back because I'm like, I need your girlfriend to drive. I'm way too drunk still. Noon the next day, still belligerently drunk. Best part about the whole night was the next morning, our buddy had yellow eyes, and we all thought he was going to die. And he's like, no, I don't need to go to the hospital. This happens all the time. We're like, oh, that's just alcohol poisoning. You refuse to go there. But anyway, that's my story of dollar beer night.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was not a good day. But shout out to the tow guy. Didn't tow my car.
So I've had a couple experiences with dollar beer night. Okay, so my experiences with dollar beer night. There was one particular bar on the Outer Banks called New York Pizza Pub. Why was it named New York Pizza Pub in the Outer Banks? Your guess is as good as mine.
Sure, it was exactly like a New York pizza. It was the Michael Scott where he goes to New York City. And he's like, when I'm in New York City, I hit up my favorite little pizza joint. It's Sbarro's. Yeah, that's probably like quality of the pizza that you were getting there.
But yeah, like they had Thursday nights. They had mug night, which was you could bring your own mug, and they would fill it with beer for you for $1.
I would have just brought a fucking sand bucket from the beach.
Some people did. Also, some people bought like big gulps. and they would fill it up for $1.
Big gulps. Nice.
Yeah.
Little Dumb and Dumber shout out.
But yeah, so we'd go to New York Pizza Pub, me and shout out Harry, and just get absolutely demolished. And like I was still 20 at the time, but if you walk up to a bouncer and hand him your ID, even when you're still 20 and it says the right year, because my birthday's in December. So
yeah. So
the whole year, like my birthday says 93. So, he just looks at it and he's like, oh, that works. Because, like, there's a line. So he doesn't want to take the time to be like, all right, 12, 17, 93, carry the one. Like he does, like, so he looks at it, he says 93. He's like, all right, cool. And just lets me through. And just getting absolutely hammered. And there's been multiple times where I had to carry Harry out of there and Harry had to carry me out of there. And
there's nothing quite like being under 21, getting in and getting so shithoused that you have to do the one eye closed when you're looking at your phone when the Uber's on the way. Because the screen just keeps going up and up and up and up. But, I mean, like, I got pretty housed a couple weekends ago. The issue was I just didn't drink a glass of water from, like, 4 p.m. till midnight. Don't ever want to feel that way again. The $150 bar nights, they're in the past for me.
I'm a very generous drunk.
Yeah, that does happen to me too.
So people are like, oh, we get to a new bar, and I've been drinking a little bit, and they're like,
I got the first round.
I got the first round, and I don't know if you know this, alcohol is not cheap.
No, it's not.
I bought a round for me and like 4 or 5 of my friends, and my then fiance, now wife, and I got them all. I handed them out to everybody, and then she handed me my tab, and it was like $98. I looked at my wife and I said, "That's not happening again."
that happened to me in Miami at my buddy's bachelor party. It's like I got the first round. First off, we went to a bar. They only served Corona. The only beer you could get was Corona. So I was like, all right, whatever. And it was like $9.50 a Corona, and I bought 6 of them. And I was like, there goes the budget for the night. But anyway, shout out, guys. Thank you again for calling with voicemails. Again, I almost gave you my personal number or my work number, 803-526-7438. So give us a call, leave us a voicemail.
All right, what do you think about tossing it over to our interview today?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we have another Olympian on, another bobsledder. So bobsledders per podcast capita, we got to be number 1 in the world.
Yeah, this is quickly turning into a bobsledding podcast.
Yeah, maybe we're just gonna really turn our focus to just Olympic sports, Olympic Winter Games, and that's how we can get big. But
shout out Lolo Jones, come on the show.
Yeah. Let's kick it over our interview with Carlo, and we'll get you guys on the back end.
All right, talk to him.
All right, today on Knee Brace Radio, we welcome the 2018 U.S. Olympic bobsledder, Carlo Valdes. How are you, sir? How you doing?
Can't complain. Just days are packed. So
are you back out there on Newport Beach for the quarantine?
Yeah, Irvine, Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
Just working and training really right now.
I gotcha. So right off the jump, I have to know, what is your favorite style of mustache? Because in your token Instagram for the Olympics, you had an absolute unit of a handlebar mustache. And it's possibly one of the best pictures I've ever seen. So yeah, just kind of take me through your favorite style.
Yeah, I would say it's the handlebar mustache because, again, you got to get people what they want. And that's a unique style that people will remember. I mean, I could do the regular stash, and trust me, it's thick. I call it a bottom lipper, but yeah, the handlebar mustache, it's too good not to pull off. So,
have you ever tried the curls, or does it not cooperate?
Uh, I haven't tried like full on curls just because I don't know. I just never done it. I just found it to where I felt more. I don't want to say comfortable, but I feel like curls are everyone does it. Some people do
It's
it.
fair.
And
The handlebars is a bit of a throwback.
plus it's like a more of like a British style where I'm half Hispanic, so it's just like, man, just let it flow.
Definitely hear you on that. I tried to do it back in college, and at that point, I really couldn't grow a full beard. I had to use a little PEDs. I had to get some Just for Men and mix it in there to get to really pop. But yours looks like it's all natural, and it's glorious.
Yeah. Thank you.
So to loop back here a little bit, sorry about that. But I saw that you played high school at a perennial powerhouse, Mater Dei High School, who is nationally one of the most as of late one of the most storied high school football teams in the country. And you played with a guy named Matt Barkley, who eventually went on to USC and was really one of the top recruits coming out of the country in his day. Can you kind of take me through what it was like to play with a guy like that?
Yeah, not just training, but competing and playing in games with them. Growing up with them, really, because we know each other for a long time since we were kids, and yeah, it was cool to be able to, have that keep going all the way through high school, and then obviously he went his way to USC. I went to UCLA. He's kept playing football where I stopped, did track, and then bobsled, of course. We'll go into that. But it was cool because, I used to play quarterback, and having someone that can make any pass, really, and then the way our playbook was set up, like I had the freedom to do a lot of things. I had a lot of options, and he was smart enough to see what I was seeing as well as the other receivers we had on the team too. So we were very well in sync with those options, and me reading the defense and we both had the savviness to be able to make those adjustments live in games, in practice. And yeah, it's just cool to be able to, work with a guy like that who can make all the passes, really. So yeah, it was cool.
It's got to be pretty crazy in high school to be, like you said, playing with a guy that went on to play, through college into the NFL and stuff. But to see that at a young age is pretty awesome. I know you mentioned, at UCLA, you did track and field. It said online you threw the javelin. How did you get your start with that? I feel like that's kind of a bit of a more unique thing to do.
Yeah. So how that all started. So when I was doing both football and track at UCLA, I was trying to do both. I had to choose one after freshman year, but I was doing decathlon my first year of track. And I don't know if you guys know what decathlon is. I'm sure Evan described it to you because he was on there. But yeah, I started throwing javelin. And I always wanted to try it. It was always one of those things where, we couldn't do it in California because they don't offer it in high school for whatever rule they have. I don't know. But yeah, it looked fun. Like you're throwing a spear. I mean, what's not cool about it? You try to throw as far as you can. But what I ended up learning was that, both my coaches side, Art Venegas, who's still my strength coach to this day, and he left after the first year, and then Mike Maynard, who was the one that told me to try for bobsled. He was also a JAV coach, but also our head coach too, after Art. And it just, they both saw the athleticism and said, hey, like, you're going to become a javelin thrower. I'm like, all right. I didn't really want to do it because I thought I'd be good at decathlon, and I probably would have if I stuck with it. But, it is what it is. I would have done bobsledding if that were the case. I don't know, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, I started doing that, and the more I started throwing it, the more I realized it sucked. Yeah, it just sucked because you get hurt a lot. It's so javelin is one of the most unnatural sports you can do, or unnatural events, especially in track and field. Besides triple jump, it's just so taxing on your body, and you're putting yourself in such unnatural positions that the body's not even supposed to be in, and you're like making it become like a human rubber band and transferring energy into all these different parts of your body in a certain sequence to where it's going to launch an absurd distance, because you can't muscle it. It has to be all technique mostly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, again, it's cool sport. I got big. That's how bobsledding came up. I got bigger. I got stronger. Still fast. And I mean, I have a lot to thank. I've a lot to thank for it. But yeah, looking back on it, I do not ever want to throw a javelin ever again.
Did you ever get scared throwing the like javelin? I mean, for me, I would be afraid that someone's just going to like not be paying attention, just wander out to where I'm throwing. Like you said, it's literally a spear. Is that something that ever crossed your mind while you were doing it?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, we're always telling people, they see us throwing, so it's their fault if they're going to just wander off on the field. And yeah, it's been a few times where people have almost gotten, what's the word? Impaled.
Impaled, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I never got scared, because it's just like you can't. When you're in the middle of something, you have to only
Can't
focus
think about
on executing. Yeah,
exactly. So. Yeah, I think that's more of just a baseball and a golf thing where people get the yips and all of a sudden they throw it just the complete wrong direction, which I've seen firsthand. So I didn't know if that ever happened with somebody with the javelin, because that would be a catastrophic result.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean it's all technical, and if you're not in the right mentality because maybe one thing's off or you're feeling something different, then yeah, it affects your throwing. But never like a fear thing where you're afraid you might hit someone or whatever.
Gotcha.
So you touched on the fact that you went to UCLA, but coming out of high school, you had multiple offers for Arizona State, Wazoo. What made you choose UCLA and staying close to home? Was it Rick Neuheisel? Is that what brought you in?
No, so that's an interesting story. It's an interesting story. So yeah, with Washington State, I actually had committed, and because of the coaching changes that happened, so I think it was Boba was there when I was being recruited, and then Erickson was at Arizona State when I was being recruited. So Boba's whole team or whole crew left except for two guys and the new head coach. They didn't really uphold the scholarships that his organization had offered, so mine was all off the board. So it was kind of it didn't look good on them, that's for sure. And then Arizona State, the only reason why I wanted to go there was, well, I mean it's Arizona. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And the receiver coach there, Eric Yarber, was one I wanted to be with because he had ties with my receiver coach at the time. And he ended up actually going to Cincinnati, taking an NFL job. Mm-hmm. So, again, it was just a coaching thing for me. And then from there, my third option, I either could walk on early for UCLA or for Oregon. And I decided just to go with UCLA because, it's right there, an hour away, close to home, but not close enough, Mm-hmm. And, yeah, Neuheisel was very understanding and said, hey, we got a spot for you. Just come on. And I was already also in contact with Art Venegas, who was the head coach on the track team at the time as well. So I had both sides working for me. And, yeah, I mean, Oregon would have been great, but I don't know. It just, at that point, the education, like being a UCLA alumni, sounded better to me than, going to Oregon at the time. So,
yeah, definitely. If you went to Oregon, would you have ran track there as well? Or do you think that you would have strictly played on the football team?
Who knows?
Yeah,
because Oregon has that incredible history with their track team with I'm drawing a blank. LaFontaine, yep. There it is.
Prefontaine, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a story program too. I mean, have you seen the new stadium they made? The new Tracktown USA? It's nuts.
Yeah, those Nike
It's-
dollars.
It is nuts. I can't wait to just go and watch a meet.
So I know this was a little bit after your time at UCLA, but people know P. Diddy's son went there. Did you happen to know the coach, or was it the same coaching staff that was there when P. Diddy went there and threw a kettlebell at somebody in the locker room?
At UCLA?
Yeah.
Well, so Rick Neuheisel was there pretty much the whole time I was there. From first year, that was my first year, and then he got axed after my fourth year, and then Mora came in my fifth year because I did a fifth year super senior.
No shame in that.
No, that's why not?
Yeah,
just
fun.
delay everything.
I think I know more
And-
people that did super senior years than I do that don't.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do summer school. I did one summer school class
Mhm.
the whole time there. Yeah, why not? I'm not, just enjoy the experience. That's what college is. Enjoy the experience.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I wish I would have taken sports more seriously, but again, I don't know if thoughts that would have happened.
I think making the Olympics is taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so I don't know the story. I didn't look too much into the P Diddy thing, but what I do know is that as far as like going back to the experience, I was very serious in high school about it. Football and track, very serious about doing well. College, I went into football thinking more serious about it, like starting early in my underclassmen years, and it just didn't end up happening that way. And I got hurt. Some things happened, and then track happened. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and finally I said, screw it. I'm just going to take all the pressure off myself and like have fun with this. But then I had too much fun, and which is fine. It's college, but at the same time, you gotta have that right balance. And I think a lot of kids miss that nowadays, whether they're more education focused or more sports focused. And then towards my later years, yeah, I was getting more serious, and at that point, it's too late. But I knew I didn't want it to end there. So I was trying to figure out what I could do. And then now you probably had this question written down, but as far as like how the whole bobsled thing started.
Yeah, that's my next question.
How that ended up happening was, so Maynard, he introduced the idea when I was a third year, so redshirt sophomore, and I had two teammates that were thinking about it as well. Another thrower, Andreas Strabal, and Nick Taylor, who's now married to Alana Myers Taylor. So Nick was a volunteer assistant at the time. So Maynard brought the idea to them because they were great athletes, and they're just like, I think you guys should try out, because he had other athletes in the past go out and try out and make it. He's like, you guys fit the mold, you guys fit the build, strong and fast, go try it after you're done. They did a combine that year, and then they made it. They were the first two rookies, or the only two rookies that year that made the team. So he's just like, hey, look, if those guys can make it, then you can make it too. So that's when the conversation started. But, again, like, what kid from Southern California is going to go bobsledding? So when the time came, when it was time for me to make a decision, when I graduated, 2013, that's when I didn't really listen at first. I started playing around with the idea that I was just going to go get a job. And I was about to get into real estate development. That was a field I wanted to get into. But then after searching for what would fit right for me, I soon realized that, all right, if I'm going to go and do bobsled, it's only going to be the only time I can do it. I can always do other things later in the future as far as work goes. So I dropped everything and told my parents, I'm like, hey, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go try out for the team. I'm going to start training and just coach on the side in the meantime. So that's what I did. I started training for a full year, let my body recover, because my body was messed up from javelin. I had a laundry list of things wrong with me, but anyways, Got my foot in the door, went out for just to watch a race and actually do some sledding November of Olympic year in 2013-14 season. So that was my first time ever going down a track in Park City. Like scared to death. Like that was a rush. But loved it. And I didn't have a chance of making the team obviously that year because you have to go through a series of qualifications and it's all subject based. But really I was setting myself up for the next year, continue to train. I was coaching at a local high school, Corona Del Mar High School, as a track coach there and doing personal training on the side for football and track and just other stuff in general. And then at that point, it's time to get into the season. My first or the qualifications and the process to make the team that first year, which was 2014-2015 season. So that's when that all began.
Mhm.
I know you mentioned that you were having, a laundry list of injuries from the javelin. Your training now versus your training back then, is it much different or is it relatively the same, being that you're a little bit older now, your body maybe isn't recovering quite as quickly or anything like that? Is it relatively the same or is it going to get changed up a little bit?
It's relatively the same, especially on the throw side, because it's one of those sports where it's very anaerobic, and that just means it's purely power and speed and explosiveness. So we're only training for 5 seconds at a time, with an hour rest, 2 hour rest in between. As far as like our 2 runs in a day.
Sounds like my kind of workout.
Yeah, and those 2 runs, those 2 competition runs, practice runs, whatever you want to call it, we have to be 110% when that time comes. Like no injuries, no fatigue, no whatever. So that's how I train, to the point where I was in the weight room for a long time. I call it 3 to 4 hours. Wow. Because we're taking for me at least, I was taking so much time in between sets to rest. I was doing maximum output in each set. Not meaning I'm maxing out, but I'm getting full rest, full recovery, going after it again, and trying to just absolutely destroy my body. And then with sprints, like same thing, 5 to 8 minute rest, depending on what the length of the sprint is. Reps are relatively low, but the intensity is just through the roof. But in the weight room, you're actually putting in a lot of volume because you need to build up your body to the point where you're able to last a full season. There's a lot of wear and tear, there's a lot of traveling, a lot of races, a lot of moving sleds. So you really need to put your body in a good position to where, one, it's going to last, not get hurt, and still perform at a high level for each race. So it's year-round training. And, man, it's just – it's definitely a work smarter, not harder type of training routine. Yeah. And you got to really put a lot of effort into recovery, which is something that it's tough right now with working. I can get the training in, but now with working a full-time job, 12 hours a day, roughly 10 to 12, we'll call it. It's just finding the time to be able to stretch and lay down and do all these treatments and stuff like that. Cause I'm sitting too. So I'm trying to not put my body in a weird position.
Yeah. It's the most unnatural position of all time to just sit for an extended period of time.
Yeah. So yeah, that it's, luckily I had the football and track background because that's what you have to utilize in bobsled.
When you're in between your 2 runs, I know you said there was an extended period of time. When you're at an event, what are you guys typically doing during that downtime? Are you stretching primarily, or are you trying to just stay as warm as possible?
Yeah, it's mainly rest, get the recovery in, because when we're going on the track, we do the run, we weigh in at the bottom, then we go back up top, load the sled, get it set up again, flip it, make sure it dries out for the next run, and there's no water in there, no snow, whatnot. And then we go up and just recover, rest, down, lay down if you need to, elevate your legs. Some people do that. But at the same time, you can't get too relaxed because
Yeah.
you still got to go out and do another run full speed. So you're still active. You're still doing things just to get your mind right, like whether it's listening to music or walking around maybe, or just doing some light jogging just to keep the body active. And yeah, you want your nervous system firing at all times. It's just you got to make sure that you're smart. And yeah, there's a routine to it. For me, like I'll start getting active again like 30 minutes prior. Slight jog and drills, a few sprints and a few jumps, and I'm good to go. So that's the downtime, and it can be like for practice, it could be like you can go right back to the top and go again for practice, or 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
But for races, it's typically 2 hours.
Mhm.
Typically, if you're spread out the way you should be, but there's some times where you can be the last set off. The heat ends, you come back up, you got 30 minutes, and then you're off again in 30 minutes. So that's a scenario too. But mostly I would say it's between an hour and 2, for sure.
So with bobsled being literally such a close sport where you're literally in this, I believe Evan told us like 26 inches off the ice, something like that. How close do you get with the guys that you're like your pilot? Because I know you're a push athlete. So how close do you get with the pilot and the other push athletes whenever you're on a team together?
Close as is in the sled or just camaraderie?
Oh, camaraderie, but you can answer the other one too. I know you guys are like nuts to butts in there. But
yeah, we're close.
We asked Evan about the farts in there too.
Yeah, they did that story with NBC during the games. But it's a real thing. It sucks when someone farts, and the pilot could crash you on purpose just to teach you a lesson. But anyway, yeah, we're really close. I mean, just think about a football team and how a locker room in like that kind of environment where everyone, everyone's on the same page, everyone's pushing for the same goal, and now you minimize it to like 11 people or 4 people per sled. So, or like a huddle. There's 11 guys in the huddle for football, right? Now there's 4 guys. So we're doing everything together, always hanging out. Whether it's, after, sleeping, of course, eating, getting ready, getting the sled ready, going to the track, making sure all that stuff's done, practicing as a team, making sure everything's done as a team. Even afterwards, same thing, same process, training, lifting, running, whatever it is. Like we're always doing pretty much everything together. So yeah, it has to happen, especially the reps. The amount of reps we have to do on the sled, both on the track and off the track, pays a huge difference. And the difference between someone that just started compared to a team that's been together for 4, 5, 6 years, you can 100% tell. So, I mean, we try to do our best because typically each year there are some changes. But we can easily catch up to everyone else if we just put in the reps. That's it. So, and from there we can get timing down and feel and sense and all that.
So I'm going to ask a question that you don't necessarily have to answer because I know it might be a touchy subject, but I asked the previous question because a guy that used to pilot with you, Stephen Holcomb, tragically passed away back in 2017. And I know that he used to pilot for you in 2016. Is that correct, for a world championship?
For 3 years, I was with him. Yeah. Yeah.
So I understand the nature of his death, and I think it's an important message to get to people that just to sort of seek the help when you need it and stuff like that. Can you take me to that time if you would, or if not, totally fine.
The time when he passed, or just the time we spent together?
The time you spent together, that'd be great. Because he achieved the first gold medal since 1948 for the United States. So I just thought his story is one of triumph and then tragedy at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, so when I first met Steve, yeah, of course you know about him coming in the sport because you're trying to do research as well. Like, okay, who are the guys?
Right.
And obviously Steve was one of those guys, being in the sport since Salt Lake games, 2002, really. Even before that, because he was pushing before that actually, and so he was in the sport for a long time. I think like 18 or 20 years, but anyway, yeah. So first time I met him, I actually broke my toe during rookie camp, and I was sitting in the cafeteria by myself because everyone had left to go home. Because what happened between rookie camp and national push champs was a 3-week period back in 2015. That was 2014, and I was in there, and then he sat next to me, and he's just like, "So you're the guy that broke his toe, huh?" That was my first interaction with him. And then no hi, no what's up, just like, yeah, so you're the guy that broke his toe, huh? Like, yeah, it's me. And then we just talked for a little bit. Pretty quiet guy, very quiet guy, very to himself. And like I probably said maybe no more than 10 words to him. And then after he's done eating, he's like, all right, see ya. But that's the kind of guy he was. Very quiet. And kind of like me, I'm a pretty quiet, reserved guy myself. I mean, in my industry now, I have to be trust me, I love talking with people, but when I have my just me time, I enjoy it. So over the years, once he found out that I was doing well and the results were showing it, that's when obviously we started pushing together middle of my first year. And from there, like, I just never relinquished my spot because I'm like, all right, I'm the guy. Like, no one's going to take my spot. So that's when, between 2014-15 season all the way up until the 16-17 season, that's when, we got a lot closer because we had a lot of similarities. We had a lot of the same similar interests. And, it just, with everything that happened, it sucked.
Right. Yeah.
But
There's no other way to put it than it sucked. I get it. I recently lost a very close friend of mine at the beginning of last year, and so I sort of get where you're coming from, where you lose someone faster than you'd like to. So I appreciate you sharing that and sharing your experience with him.
Kind of circle back to a little bit, I guess, brighter note here. Can you walk us through kind of what your thoughts were when wanting to compete with the 2020 games, and at what point did you realize, like, I still got something in the tank, I was still going to go for this?
Yeah, the 2022 games?
2022 games, sorry.
Yeah, so when everything ended in 18, as you can see from everything you've probably read, is it just everything went against me, essentially. And the team, of course, but, with leading up to the 18 games, with the momentum we had after that season we had with Steve, and knowing he was pushing and knowing we had guys that could push him, it was looking good for the U.S. team in general. And then with that happening, put a damper on the beginning part of the year. Then we started getting momentum. We're starting to do well. We got some medals out of it, top podium finishes. And then we started building some good momentum going into the games because we were like, with Evans, guys Evan was pushing with and I was pushing with, we were like 1-2 at the start those last 2 weeks of the season. And and then Justin Olson, he ended up getting an appendectomy in Korea, and Evan was supposed to do a 2-man race with him. So he felt the same thing, where it's just like, all right, we felt like the rug was just pulled from under us.
Right.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
So when all that stopped, I just felt like, man, 4 years just down the drain. Like, didn't matter how much I trained for it. Like, it just, we did our best, but the best wasn't displayed. And I wasn't okay with it. So I left a bad taste in my mouth for sure. So I knew, okay, I have to keep this door open. But I can't. I couldn't focus on it anymore. I was just mentally wrecked, physically destroyed, and I had to take time away from the sport in order to fix what was going on with me. It's just if I would not have been a happy guy if I kept going. It wasn't fun. So I stepped away, started focusing on a career, which I've been working in finance now for the past 2+ years, building my own business. And I always left the door open, saying, okay, if there's a chance that we can win a medal in 2022, then yeah, 100% gonna go after it. Plus, with the fact that we got world championships in 2021 in Lake Placid on home soil, like it's a no-brainer. So that, of course, that was motivation for me. And I know the team was left in a rough spot that season after the games, and it's just like I don't want to contribute towards that because I would have been even in a rougher spot. So yeah, you just gotta take care of yourself before you can take care of others. It's just super important. So
Can't pour from the glass.
Yeah. So I again left the door open, and finally I said, you know what, this is what I want. I can do both. That's the beauty about what I do. I can work whenever, wherever, and now I'm able to focus a lot more on training and this next season and the year after. Yeah, this is it. This is my last hurrah.
Might as well go for it.
My last dance, because after 2022, that's it. I'm done. Like I don't see my body being able to produce anymore. Maybe, but my heart won't be in it at that point. So everything's going into it this go around.
So I only have 2 more questions for you. I know you got to be getting out of here soon, but my other question was going to be: I see that you have an affinity for Nacho Libre by your Halloween costumes on your Instagram. I just wanted to let you speak on the finer points of your Nacho Libre Halloween costume.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always been a fan ever since the movie came out, and I got curly hair. You saw the fro; that was real. Mustache is real.
I was gonna ask if that was your hair.
It's my hair. Yeah.
Wow, that's some flow, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just you gotta have fun with it. So I got the costume. I know a lot of people who are fans too. So when you come out with something with content like that, it's gonna blow up. And again, you gotta give the people what they want. So
exactly.
Yeah, you gotta stand out. You can't be boring, especially in this day and age. Like, yeah, that's why I do the mustache. That's why I do some outlandish things with bobsled. Because I mean, it's a quirky sport anyway. You run into a lot of people who are just, I don't want to say out there, but definitely unique individuals.
Definitely out there.
Yeah. But again, we're all great athletes too. That's the other thing. Like,
yeah, from speaking with you and Evan, I've come to realize that bobsledders are just the freak athletes that found football to be too boring.
Well, it's just we all have different journeys. Whether it was injuries or circumstances or just didn't work out or whatever, honestly. And then, I mean, it's a tribute to, the people that we knew. And then, of course, with a couple of the coaching staff, finding the right people as well. It's a sport where, yeah, you can take a whole lot of talented individuals and translate that into pushing a sled. Mm-hmm. And again, freak athletes. We have a couple of freak athletes, that's for sure. 2 that stand out in my mind, and that's Sam McGuffey, who I'm sure you heard the name, and then Hakeem Abdul Sabor. He's just a genetic freak. So yeah, it's cool. And then you're friends with these guys for life because again, it's a small community.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So earlier you did mention, well, in your announcement that you were going to return, you mentioned your businesses that you've been trying to build, and you mentioned finance. So could you go into a little bit more about what you've been getting into?
Yeah, so I've been, I can't say advisor, but I've been a financial strategist, if you want to call it that, a financial coach, and really working towards, those other designations like being a registered financial advisor, being a certified financial planner. Like those are all things that I want to get under my belt. At the same time, that's what I do. I just help people plan. And when it comes to building a business, you're starting from scratch because you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I build this? Who do I reach out to? I don't even know this stuff. I had no background in finance, but again, I'm able to talk with people and be able to have just normal conversations and relate to them and just try to figure out what's important to them. And then based upon that, just figure out what kind of planning they've done already, both offensive and defensive, and then create recommendations around what the need is and then solve it. So it's cool. It's cool because I've always wanted to be in a position where I was helping people. I just didn't realize it could be in finance. I love coaching. I love being in a growth and development role, mentorship, stuff like that. And now it's just this industry just aligned with it because now I'm just doing that from a financial standpoint. And because everyone's different. Everyone's not the same. It's not going to be cookie cutter. It's always going to be custom tailored to what those needs are. And yeah, I just don't want people falling the same position that I've seen a lot of other people fall into, where they're just not covered. They don't have enough saved up. They're not taking advantage of, high rates of return outside of the bank because the bank's giving you nothing. And there's just a lot of things out there that people don't know. And I try to break all that down in a simplistic form that people can understand and then just build off of it. So it's definitely not something that you're going to make a lot of money on at first, but if you stick with it, like this is the kind of career that can really set up not just your family, but generations financially. So that's why I'm doing it. My parents were self-employed entrepreneurs, and I just never want to be tied down to a 9-to-5 job. It's such just boring to me. Sucks.
Yeah. Very true.
And look what we've seen with the past few months, like the people getting furloughed and losing jobs, and now people are starting to understand that 9-to-5 jobs are not safe. Mm-hmm. So why not take control and be your own boss?
Yeah, this podcast we actually started back in May, and it's something that we realized for years that this is something we wanted to do, and we just finally decided to like fuck it, like what's the harm in spending some free time trying to build a brand, and having people like you on here is really helping us out, and we can't thank you enough.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time. Very gracious.
Yeah, absolutely.
My parents are self-employed, and I know how much time and effort really goes into it, especially in the beginning stages. Just a grind that is self-employment, and it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, especially when you're helping run, a team of a couple hundred, and then focusing specifically on 30, 40, 50 people as well, helping them build their business. Mm-hmm. Man, it's all while trying to build your own practice too. So it's my calendar is nuts, to put it that way. But I know what's going to lead to. It's a very predictable business. It really is. Mm-hmm. Just activity leads to production.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I got, Carlo. I really appreciate your time. Why don't we'll give you some time here to plug what you have going on with your socials and where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I have a fan page on Facebook, athlete page, not OnlyFans.
Little extra side money never hurt, though.
Yeah. And then those are the main 3 platforms I use. I'm also on LinkedIn for business stuff too. But yeah, you can just type in my name on Facebook and LinkedIn, but also Instagram and Twitter, it's just Carlo Valdes _USA. Or again, you can type in my name. My name's pretty unique, so
it'll pop right up.
It pops right up. Yeah, it's got the blue check mark. So
Nice.
So yeah, that's where you can find me, and starting to get more active and post stories and stuff on Instagram for sure. Twitter, I need to get back on that, and then Facebook for the same thing. But yeah, it's all coming back. So yeah, be sure to follow.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
Look forward to seeing you in 2022.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carlo.
Let's go over our second winner of the T-shirt review. Nick's got it pulled up right now.
Absolutely. So, just love the reviews, guys. I really do. So the name of this review is "My Darkest Unproductive Days Are," and then it cuts off because, cell phones. But anyways, here's the review. My days at work were slow and dull until a gift was sent down from the tops of Mount Olympus when two buffoons decided to start a podcast, and all that changed. I'm far less productive now at work than I was before because of this podcast. I've laughed to tears and even had a scare in my shorts a few times. The only way things could possibly get better is if I got some sweet merch. Keep on gracing us with this gold. Well, my friend, you got your wish. You are going to get some sweet merch in the form of a T-shirt.
So be on the lookout for that. Guys, thank you again so much for helping us break 1K downloads, getting our site views almost to 1,000. We couldn't do it without you. Nick, where can they find you on the social media?
Twitter is going to be @Fumblin' and Instagram is going to be if I had one with underscores between all of it.
And then for me, Twitter is Kyle_Craig36, Instagram Kyle_Craig4. Give us a follow on our Knee Brace Radio accounts, which is just @KneeBrace Radio.
Go check out the website,
kneebraceradio.com. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much. And be on the lookout for our interviews next week. We're going to have an OnlyFans star on. A little teaser for you.
All right. See you guys.
Peace.